am Stephen Hodges. Welcome to Bootstraps in Business. I'm here today with Amy Nichols, owner or AKA of Cheerful Amy, owner of the Cheerful Tortoise. Welcome, Amy.
Thank you for having me.
How's you enjoying our December day and late April? Nice and rainy.
I almost brought out the rain boots again.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm building an ark right now, so why not? So wanted to kind of give our listeners or people watching a little background. So you are the owner, successful business owner of Cheerful Tortoise and the Bullpen.
Yep.
Two of my favorite bars, by the way. Yeah.
Staples in Portland.
They are staples in Portland. And also you're running for West Linn-Wilsonville School Board.
Yes.
Correct? Yeah, position 4, if I'm not mistaken.
Position 4, yes.
Very good, yeah. So you just wanted to add more work to life?
I
Is
did.
that you were kind of feeling a little like things are slowing down?
I need something else to go after to help.
I like it.
I got to do something. I can't keep sitting back in the corner hiding. I got to get out there.
All right, so tell me more about your background, especially, starting Cheerful Tortoise, like how that came to be, as how you became owner. You can go farther back if you want, but maybe save time for the book. I don't know. Don't give away all the secrets.
No, I won't. But cool story. I did start working when I was very young. I had fishermen hustling me on the size of their boat length, trying to swindle the 9-year-old. So I learned real quick how to deal with people and learned from that.
Wait, but back up. They were swindling you on...
Well, yeah, like how you have a 22-foot boat that's $5, or a 26-foot boat that's $8 because my dad owned the boat hoist in the fuel dock.
Okay.
And so I would go out there, this little 9-year-old Amy with their little pigtails, and collect money from the boat hoist people, and they'd be like, "No, I've got this 22." I'm like, "No, it's not." And so I had that happen. That started when I was really young, so I learned real quick. I grew up probably faster than I should have. Worked on fishing boats when I was little. Through high school, I didn't go out and party. I was working.
Here in Oregon?
Yeah, Washington, Ilwaco, Washington. Went to Alaska for 2 summers.
Wow.
Came back, went to college at Clark College. I had a scholarship, full ride, Washington Award for Vocational Excellence to anywhere I wanted to go in Washington. I chose Clark College. Wow. Figured it was close enough to the parents, but still far away. And then I worked on the golf course, started working at Harvey's Comedy Club. And then I went in to go get wings at the Cheerful Tortoise, and the bartender at the time said, "When do you come work for me?" And I said, "As soon as you get off your lazy ass and hire me."
That's
and
amazing.
He's like, "Okay, come in for an interview tomorrow." And then I started working there, and I never left, and worked 3 years as a server and then a bartender and management, and I made the previous owner a great deal of money, and then he sold it to me on contract, and then here I am.
That's amazing. So he was like, "Well, I want to retire, basically, and why don't we do a contract?" I mean, I think what's really important for people to hear is how you've kind of come up. I mean, a lot of people think that when you start a business, you have to start it, or to buy one, you have to have all this money. But you were a trusted employee, worked really hard, and then so was he done? And he's like, "Hey, why don't you buy it?"
Pretty much. I think he had a couple other businesses that he was doing the same thing at the time with other people. So actually brilliant move on his part. You find somebody that's going to run your business and you get that nice check, which I'd like to do one day for an employee, because it was, it was a great opportunity for me. I don't regret any of it. Maybe I did spend a little bit more than I should have, but again, I don't regret it. Like, it was a great lesson, and it was an amazing opportunity, and I don't think I could have did it any other way. It was just hard work, and
I don't care what they say. Spending money is actually fun. I mean, no, if you really think about it on a different level, everybody's like, you need to really conserve your money. And I mean, to a point. But then it's kind of fun, right? I mean,
it is.
I don't have a problem with that. All right. So how did the Bullpen
So
come into play?
I started managing, and he had opened several Cheerfuls around the city, and I went in and managed each of them and would increase revenue. I would do like $25,000 a month increase every time. Every establishment I went into, I could easily turn that around. And so then it got to the point he kept saying, well, when I'm going to find you a bar, we're going to get you a bar. I'm going to buy you a bar. Okay, great. We'll buy me a bar. And then finally he said one day, he's like, okay, we're going to go look at this bullpen. And we were talking about this a year before I actually took over the Tortoise. And he said, okay, we're going to go check this out. I want you to go scope this bullpen out. Tell me what you think. This is a bar. The deal we're going to do. I'm like, okay, fine. And then a couple months later, he sits down and he's like, okay, well, what about the Tortoise? I'm done. I'm like, okay, fine. Well, what do I do? And he's like, well, you have to get all the paperwork and everything done by January 1st. And if you can do that, then it's yours. I was like, okay. So then I went through all the process of lottery, OLCC, a whole nother step. I'm like the blind leading. I didn't have guidance. It was trial and error. I bashed my head so many times. Right. I can't even count in countless hours.
The best way to do a business.
It is. Yeah. Like, it's not easy. And anyone that thinks that they can just walk in and be like, I'm going to buy a bar.
Right.
Good luck, because it's not as easy as it seems. It's challenging.
I got to be honest here. I've never had anybody say, I'm going to get you a bar either, right?
No.
This gentleman obviously had a tremendous amount of respect. Mm-hmm. He saw something in you that you could do it. Yep. Which is pretty amazing. Are you guys still close?
Yeah, we still talk.
Good. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, that's always it's always interesting. It's interesting that you got a scholarship. I actually was paid not to go to college. Oh. They said, look, it's not really a scholarship. We're just gonna pay you not to show up. No, I'm totally bad joke.
And I would say, like, with that scholarship, same with when I was working on that fishing boat. I was on the little 6-pack boat. And at 13, I was like, I'm going to be on the Ghost Rider. I'm going to be on the biggest boat in the harbor. That's my goal. And it only took me 2 summers to do it, and I was on that boat. Same with the scholarship. When I was in 8th grade, I saw my cousin walk across the stage, and he said, this is the scholarship. And I'm like, I'm going to get that scholarship. So from 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, everything that I did was all revolved around that one scholarship. And I got it.
That's amazing. Yeah. So... And you guys were at the Mouth, right? Or right? That's one of the
bar, yeah.
Yeah, the bar. That's one of the deadliest, places to be. And you're 9, 10, 11. Yeah. Huh.
I officially started on the charter boats when I was 13.
Right.
And then we went to Alaska for 2 summers on that boat I wanted on. That was his dream, was to go to. I'm like, I'll go to Alaska, sure. So I spent the summer in Alaska working charter boat with him up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this was just all hard work. This wasn't my dad or mom helping me. This was me doing it all on my own. So,
I think to, our kids now, it's like we put a life vest on them at 13 just to go in a hot tub. So, going out there in the bar, right? That's a different world. That's insane. I like it. Hard work, good to hear. So clearly you got your work ethic from your mom and dad. Is that they can instill that in you?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Even separate, they still, my dad always had businesses, and my mom was a waitress. And I remember saying, I'm never going to be a waitress. So it's ironic because today I'm still like, it's a server. It's not a waitress, even though it's
server.
It's a server.
Well, what's really interesting is that you were both those things, or are. You were server and business owner. Yep. So you actually followed in both of their footsteps.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Are they still with us?
Uh-huh.
Yep, great. Are you? Do you guys ever talk about that?
A little. Sometimes we do. I do a little with my dad.
Right. Bring it up to him like I literally followed in both of your footsteps.
We joke about it a little.
That's actually really cool. That's a great experience. So your family. Let's talk about your family for a sec. So you're from
the Pacific Northwest.
Yep.
I graduated Kelso High School, but I believe I was really Long Beach, Ilwaco, Washington. Like, I was there every weekend.
I was going to say Long Beach, but Long Beach is actually a great little beach. I don't think a lot of people explore that, especially from Portland, as much as they should.
They don't.
It's a little harder to get to, but not terribly. I think it's the bridge.
It's the bridge.
It's the bridge. They're scared to go over the bridge.
That walk's pretty fun, though. They close it down, and they do a walk every year. It's pretty cool. I did it a couple years ago.
Yeah, were you again, I would have a life vest on, but if you're gonna, if the wind's gonna blow you, you know what I mean? Yeah, you're kind of in trouble. What would you say, so in business, what would you say your challenges that you've faced? Talk about those. Because, hey, a lot of people that do listen, they either have started a company or they're about to. And so it's good for them to hear kind of the challenges you faced.
Are we erasing the last 3 years? Because
No.
that's a whole nother podcast.
Part of life, right? Yeah. You go ahead and rant. I mean, honestly, I think that's a big part of the story.
It is. It's actually a significant part of my story because February 21st, 2021, I will have made my last payment, or I would have made my last payment to be completely debt-free of the Cheerful Tortoise. And I have been planning that for several years. Big bash party, ordered the big bottle of Vouv, just wanted to go all out. I mean, it's a big deal. I was paying a large sum of money every month and struggled. And I will say, like, with that situation, having it on contract, I was working even harder because I had that extra payment to do where that's not normally what you have. And I would say that was the hardest part, was just, people and managing people and finding that diamond in the rough. I guess I'm still looking for the other Amy out there somewhere.
Right.
Hopefully one day I'll find it, but
yeah,
that would be the challenging part, is you get, staff that don't have the same heart or care as much as you do. And especially in the service industry, it makes a difference. If you've got somebody coming in grumpy and they upset your customers, that customer's not coming back. It wasn't anything I did. It was something that somebody had a bad day at work, and it's a trickle effect. I would say that's the most difficult part, is getting people to care as much as you care, and I think that's the hardest part.
And there are some bars out there, I'm not going to name them, but I think they pay their servers and bartenders to be grumpy.
Oh.
Like, I mean, that's how it feels anyways. And it's kind of the opposite business model, which, you could argue that's pretty good. That way, if they're having a bad day, it's just par for the course, right? I don't go back to those places.
I still like to shake hands and say thank you and have a good day. And
so the impact of COVID, how you overcame or are overcoming?
That no one can prepare you for that. That was by far the most terrible, difficult thing that could have ever happened, to be raised by a business owner, to be told that, you go into business for yourself. If you mess up and you make a mistake, it's on you. Mm-hmm. But to have somebody come in and tell you that I can't live my American dream and you're going to pull that rug from under me and tell I can't open my business, but Costco and Fred Meyer's can. Right. No. I mean, that was probably the most gut-wrenching, horrible thing ever. And my heart is just still pretty bitter from that. Like, what's going to happen next when something else comes? This government's going to come in and tell us that I can't open my business because I'm not essential. I have family. Right. They're essential. We're all essential. So I think that was the tough part. And then trying to get funding was a whole nother thing. That was rough.
Right. And then the hits kept coming because Portland
just kept coming.
Right during that, you had the riots.
Yep.
Right?
All my windows were broke out. The stainless glass that had been in there for 20 years with the turtles, those are all broke out and irreplaceable. And why would I want to replace them at this point? I have wood up there and had somebody come paint it, because I'm not going to invest in redoing it to have it broke out again. Right,
until the crime calms down.
Yeah.
Have you noticed at all it getting better?
No, it's getting worse.
It's getting worse.
It's horrible.
Right.
And like with the video poker, it's just drawing in. It's almost to the point where I don't even want video poker anymore in my businesses. And after this morning's nice little email from the Oregon Lottery, I don't know what the point is anymore.
Right. They just
keep
no money
taking and taking and taking. And we have people come in threatening my life, my staff's life, spitting at you, screaming at you. It's just one thing after another. And at some point, as a server or a bartender, and I pay above minimum wage plus their tips, like, they're making good money. And so but at what point is it worth, you can only get yelled at so many times before you're like, okay, I'm done.
Well, eventually people, I mean, I can't imagine, I think we talked about this on the phone once. Why have the Oregon Lottery? right?
Right.
I mean,
why?
right? If they're, if the bar owners are not making money, then why would you carry that? I mean, at some point, the bars will probably just start abandoning it.
I think it's getting close. I know when I first started managing the Tortoise, it was at 36%, and when I purchased it, it was at 26%. It's $2.50 now, and as the lottery gets more and more money, it drops down. So, like by the end of the year, because the Tortoise does do really well in lottery, I'll be down to 1.25%. And at what point, yes, it's great to have labor covered, but it's not worth my employees or my staff's life. And that's what's happening right now in downtown Portland is you have this constant chaos and it's just like all the small businesses are getting pushed out. Can't believe people are coming into the city to reopen. I want out.
You want out.
I want to go out.
It makes
suburbs.
sense. Have you talked to the city? I mean,
I've reached out and you get nothing. There's no support. We don't get anything.
Just silence.
It's silence. You
wow.
reach out, you call. I had a huge conversation with my lottery rep this morning. I was like, you should start looking for another job because this rate, your lottery's going away. What is this?
Well, why carry it?
Why carry it?
Yeah, that seems pointless.
Safety issues.
Right.
Yeah.
Basically the lottery will end up in the burbs only.
Yeah.
And even then, do you want to deal? That is a tough situation.
It is.
I think that not just you, but every bar owner would be in. When I look at Beaverton, they're booming.
Oh yeah, no, right? Outskirts are doing awesome. But who wants to go downtown Portland right now?
Right.
Nobody.
And we hear they're cleaning it up, but then again, we see REI, they're gone. Walmart, they're gone.
Zebra Grocery's gone.
Yep. The list is getting long. And at what point do we keep, the politicians in there?
Right.
If they're not going to make the decision, then, we have to elect people that will. But if we have a bunch of people that keep voting for the same people, then, right? You don't have to be D or R. I'm just saying it's ideology.
It's ideology, 100%.
Right. You just have to be against crime, maybe.
Yeah.
That'd be a
can
we
great
just
start.
get that? Can we get people to agree on that? All right.
Well, yeah. And the other thing too, you look at Shake Shack just put in all that money. It was a 2-year project. They finally came in. They're supposed to open on Monday, and they just got their windows bashed out. They're not even open.
Right, it's not even open yet. Welcome to Portland.
Welcome to Portland. Windows. Just keep your windows boarded.
So, do you have suggestions then to improve? How would you improve it? Obviously, you're not running for mayor of Portland or council or anything like that.
There needs to be accountability. We cannot keep enabling. I say over and over again, there's a huge difference. There's homeless, and I call them campers. There's people that are just partying and having a good time, and they're getting just everything given them to you. Why would you ever leave? Why would you ever do anything to improve? And when we do move those encampments, why are the people that were living there not helping clean up? Let's give them a job, have them clean up. What about, I was talking to somebody the other day about all the needles, right? You walk around downtown Portland, you don't see a single can out there, but you see hundreds and hundreds of needles. Why don't all this money that we just got, the $210 million and the 1 point whatever billion that was just asked for, why aren't we using those funds to, how about a needle thing? Pick up your dirty needle and get 5 cents back. That city would be clean in a heartbeat.
Right.
And that's extreme, but that was always my why isn't somebody doing something about it?
Something different.
Because just keeping feeding money and keeping handing people things, it's not going to change.
Where's the money even going? We're not seeing, they're asking for more money, but this is at this point such a travesty that, where is it going? It's tough because the voters, I talked to a lot of people, it doesn't matter which side of the political aisle they're on, they're saying nothing's happening.
No.
So who is getting the money? That's why,
build the mental health facility to help help them. There's so many other things you can be doing than just keep asking for money, and it just, where does it go?
Right, exactly. It disappears. All right, let's switch because you actually live not in Portland.
No,
so,
I have been pushed out of Portland.
Right.
I have a house still in North Portland, my first house I ever bought.
Very good.
In 2004, and I still have that, but I moved when I got pregnant because of the school districts.
Right.
And then I moved to Lake Oswego, and then I met a husband that likes motorcycles and RV camping and racing side-by-sides, so we needed properties. So we moved out of the HOA.
Right.
And now we're in Tualatin, in
Right.
West Linn-Wilsonville.
Right. So you talk about why you're running. I mean, I think I have an idea, but, you know.
I think I'm personally to the point where everybody's just sitting around talking about ways to improve things, and I want to stand up and help and do whatever I can do for the community. And politics, religion, all of that stuff does not belong in the public school system. That needs to be left up to the parents. We need to get back to the basics, reading, writing, and math. We're at 42% reading and writing and 54% in math at graduate level. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, let's hold these kids back. Let's do what we need to do to get these kids educated, because reality, when you get set out into the real world and you get a job, we're not going to be holding your hand.
No.
You're going to get fired.
Right. Or not be able to hold it.
Or hold it,
Right.
yeah.
Hold the job. Yep.
So somebody suggested it, and I was like, hey, I moved to this district because West Linn-Wilsonville is a great district. But if we continue to keep bringing in these policies and these things, like, I'm just running for school board to make sure that we can keep it the way it is and improve the basic rights of like reading and writing. So we're graduating, and then after that, like, we'll talk about bringing other stuff in. But let's focus on
checks and balances.
Checks and balances.
Right.
Like, we have this budget. I went to that board meeting on Monday, or I think it was a couple Mondays ago, and there's all this budget. Like, why are we not spending that money to, bring in more teachers, bring in mental health educators, or I don't know, something. I don't know what the answer is, Stephen. It's
Right.
just, well, something needs to change.
Yeah.
And we can't keep voting in the same thing if we want to do that. We've got to do something different.
So along those lines, I mean, what would you say then the challenge is? It from the school board, or is it actually from the district? Because the school board can help hold the district kind of accountable, right?
Yes.
And that's how, for a lot of people out there, that's how school boards work. So what would you say those challenges, are? Is it ideology that we're putting that over?
I think that's getting more over so than just the basics. Like, we're it's almost like we're just trying to divide everybody instead of bringing people together. Like, why are we not just calling people by their name anymore? Why do we have to be anything other than Stephen Hodge, Amy
Right.
Nichols, like
Right.
Cheerful Amy? We don't need to be anything other than ourselves. Like, and if we keep continuing to put these divisions in, it's creating chaos. Like, I change my mind all the time. Everybody does.
Right.
As an adult, you never, I'm still learning what I want to do when I grow up. Like, I don't know.
You're not grown up yet.
I'm not grown up yet. I have a long ways to go. And those little kids, they just let them be kids.
Yeah.
Let them learn, get them ready for when they graduate, that they can function and do what they need to do.
Right. Yeah, that makes the most sense. You would think, outside looking in,
Right.
that would be, but it's not.
Right.
And I think we all know that. I think that's been a lot of people, their frustration. I hear that all the time. And it doesn't matter. It's not Portland. It's not Beaverton. They're all of them.
It's all of them.
It's all of them, which is weird that to think that, we have such a political divide in our schools. I guess, it should be common sense, but,
It's a superpower now.
right. I mean, if you have common sense, that is very powerful. I mean, that is rare. So, okay, well, talk to me about your priorities. If you get elected, what will your priorities be?
Getting back to the basics. How do we get these kids to where we have tools that they can graduate in reading and writing and math at a grade level, and they can graduate high school? Finding out what it is that we need to do as a district to make sure that that's happening. And one of the other things I'd like to see is site councils, which are not in our district for some reason.
What is a site council?
A site council is like you have, 3 teachers, 3 students, 3 parents, all coming together and helping with curriculum and things like that within each school. And they're
Okay.
working side by side with the PTA or doing things like, and that's part of one of Oregon's laws too, but it's not in our district. We don't have one like my kiddo at Stafford. We don't have that at Stafford. We never have. Pre-pandemic, we talked about it, and they were like, we need site councils. And
it's in the state law? Mm-hmm. So should we be doing that if
we
it's
should
law?
be doing it.
Right? I mean...
it should be doing it, and it's not being done.
In every board, right? Or every school district.
Every school district should have, every single school should have a site council.
How many of those do you think have that? That's wild. It's the first time. That's why I asked. Excuse my ignorance, but
no, I don't. Yeah. I don't know. I just
right.
know that like my particular school where my kiddo goes doesn't have it, and I know pre-COVID it was a huge issue with the PTSA, like why we don't have site councils, why we can't get this done in the district, what can we do for our school?
It's insane because Oregon. Gosh, it changes. What are we 48th? I think I read graduation rates. We were 48th in the nation. And for all the money, it's like, okay, so do we need to pay for better graduation rates? I mean, like at what point do we actually work on our students doing well?
We should be doing it now.
Right. Well, I was joking.
But now.
It's crazy to me. I mean, there's a lot of money being through taxes going in, and where's the accountability? Mm-hmm. Not saying they don't actually show it. Right. I don't think I've ever, seen it. I've looked, and good luck making heads or tails of where money actually goes in our schools.
Right.
You can't. It's a very, which to me, if it's not common sense, it's probably some fraud, probably some, some might say BS. Yeah. Very, very weird. So that's probably is that part of your frustration too, is
yeah,
what is actually, where is this going?
Dollars going? And I will say, with the business, that's one advantage I have is I understand how to run businesses. Like this is going to be treated, we're going to tear apart that budget. Look at it. Let's see where that money is going. Let's look at the P&Ls. Where could we save money? Where could we move money to make it so these kiddos can graduate, whatever the tool is. I don't know. I don't have that answer yet. But
hey, maybe if we put it the schools under the Oregon, parks, right, they would be funded. Yeah, you're right. I mean, because our parks are amazing.
They are.
I mean, everywhere. It's unbelievable. Schools are run down, but no big deal. All right. So when did you decide, like, I've had enough, I'm going to run, I'm getting involved?
I had contemplated doing it in the 2020 election. Like with that rug pulled out from under me, I was in a pretty low spot.
Right.
I have overcame that and realized, and I had talked about doing it then, but there was just, with what was going on with the shutdowns, there's no way that I could do the time commitment with the school board. And then just more and more stuff has just come up with all of the politics coming in and the religion coming into the district. It's just, I was finally like, okay, somebody said you should do this. And I was like, oh, is that an option? And they're like, yeah. And I went and had lunch and was like, oh, okay. And they're like, well, we'll support you. And I was like, okay, well, I don't know what that means, but I'll give it a shot. And if it was meant to be, then it'll be, and I'll do the best job I'll do when I'm there, just like I have with every single job I've ever did.
Right.
I'll start at the top and I'll work my way up to make it whatever it needs to be.
That's such a great attitude. I literally wish every politician had that, and they don't.
But I'm not a politician.
Right. Exactly. Well, now that you're running, as they say, you're not until you are.
You're not until you are.
You're welcome to the club. And I am not a politician. Never will be. So, anything else that you would like to add about, running for school districts, all that?
It's definitely been a learning experience. It's been a lot more. I've been steered down the wrong direction already multiple times, and it's cost a lot. I mean, this is a volunteer position. I'm going into something I'm not going to get paid for 4 years,
right?
And I'm funding it myself. Like that's probably the most difficult part. Is like I'm not the one that's going to go and ask for money because I don't know. Why are we spending all this money on these elections? Let's put these to the kids. Like,
right.
That's what the crazy part is to me, is people throwing money at all these campaigns. And I'm like, wait, all that, like, we're spending what?
We have a spending war going on with politics, right? I mean, and we as the voters, we want people without ulterior motives.
Right.
Yet we pay them to have ulterior motives. And in that way, what you're talking about,
and that's, I mean,
not being paid.
I'm not being paid, and I'm not, that's another thing I'm like doing is I've had people reach out to me from different groups, and I'm not taking their endorsement. I don't want it because this is supposed to be nonpartisan. This is supposed to be about the kids. I don't need, again, if this is what the plan was and this is what's supposed to happen, then it'll happen. I don't want endorsements from people that are going to expect something down the road later, because I'm going to be true and I'm going to stand my ground.
People don't realize how rare that actually is. You know, you're going to pay quite a bit of money to do something for the community. You're not going to get paid for it. You're not taking money from people that would literally say to you, well, hey, I've given you money. This is what I want. Anybody who thinks that doesn't happen,
it happens.
They're crazy. It's happens in every position.
It happens.
Everywhere, right? Ulterior motives, right? I mean, that's probably a bigger... I've always asked this question. Would you run for president for $400,000 a year?
No, absolutely not.
No, because I mean, you're hated by 50% of the country. Right? Regardless, they will make everything up about you that they can because they have ideology. And it's both sides. It's not, you know, one side or the other. So why are they running? You know, I mean, that's the ultimate question. I mean, why would you do something? What is your gain? And I don't think we ask that very often. I think all politicians will probably be paid inappropriately or not incorrectly. You know, we're literally paying them to be against us.
And I can see how they are just from these endorsements that people are, and I'm like, no, like, that's great. I love that you can reach out to that many voters, but I don't want your money. I don't you do what you need to do. I'm going to do what I need to do. I'm not going to be, a year from now, I'm not going to have you come and knocking on my door being like, remember when I gave you $5,000 for the sign? I'm going to need this. I don't want to be tied to that. So. Well,
and when it gets to a higher level, it's remember when I gave you $5 million.
Yeah, remember when I gave you $50 million.
Right. I mean, I can only imagine what any of the people that have run or are running, you know, and then we sit and wonder how our country is, you know, why we're so divided. It's like, well, I've got a few ideas.
Money.
I mean, we have money, right? I mean, it's an interesting topic, I think, for sure. One that, unfortunately, we, the voters, probably have to take a look in the mirror because ultimately it's our fault.
It is.
I mean, how messed up is that? It's like we're allowing, and we're promoting all of it.
And I guess the biggest thing, the challenge so far that I've had is just reach out to the person. Go shake their hand. Talk to them. Don't just because you read it on social media that somebody said something. And don't believe everything you read. Like, just go talk to the person and then make your own decision. That's
the one thing I think I've realized, you know, by talking to different politicians, they're human. And a lot of them, they you know, they may be not aligned with what you agree with, but that doesn't make them evil, right? I mean, we can have conversations. We can disagree politically. But apparently we can't for right now. Apparently we need to, as a country, need to learn our lesson. I don't know where that's all coming from. Like I said, probably how money flows into politics. They need everything to be a crisis to raise money. It's, you know, welcome to the Wild West of
it's
politics.
Fascinating, that's for sure. Just the whole process has been...
If it wasn't my country, it would be great. It's our country, so while I'm eating the popcorn, I'm also crying, you know, at the same time. So, well, very good. Pleasure talking with you. I think...
Thanks for having me.
You know, people knowing how that you've kind of come up in the world, it's very grassroots. I have no doubt you'll do the same thing in, you know, your new endeavor. You know, the same way. So thank you so much.
Put my heart into it. Best I can.
Absolutely.
And have fun.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, as always, for checking out DMG's Bootstraps and Business. If you'd like to find out more about our guests, DMG, or these podcasts, just check out the show notes. Thank you.